Hikers, campers, even the occasional paranormal nut who finds their way to Black Hollow Forest, they all want to know the same thing: is it true? About the screams at night. And every time, I lie. Not because it's not true, but because the truth would ruin you. My name's Tom Raskin. I've been a forest ranger for 32 years. Most of that time has been spent right here, deep in the Appalachian stretch of forest we call Black Hollow. It's not marked that way on most maps. Officially, this patch is just another square of preserved land, but the locals know. They've always known. There's something here. And it doesn't want us. I remember the first time I heard the screams. It was 1993, 2 weeks into my assignment. I was still green, cocky, thought I'd seen it all after a year in Yellowstone. That night I was posted up at Firewatch Tower 9, tucked about 8 miles from the nearest access road. The sun had dipped behind the pines, the kind of red-orange burn that makes the forest look like it's bleeding. And then came the noise. Not an animal. Not a person. Something in between. Like a human voice stretched too far, raspy, broken, wet. It started low, like a groan, then rose into a shriek that echoed through the valley. I couldn't tell if it was close or far. That's the thing about the hollow. Sound doesn't work right here. It folds in on itself, like the trees are conspiring to confuse you. I radioed it in. The dispatcher, a woman named Deb I later married, thought I was pulling her leg. Told me to lay off the coffee and maybe read something that wasn't Mothman Monthly. But the screams didn't stop. They came back the next night. And the next. Then the disappearances began. First it was hikers. Always solo. The kind of people who thought they didn't need a map. Then it was hunters. A group of 4 went in for a weekend trip, only one came back. Said the others walked into the trees like they were following something. No screams that time, just silence. The man slit his own throat in a motel 3 towns over. Left a note. One line. It wears their faces. We started closing off parts of the forest. Quietly. No announcements, no press. Just more signs. Rock slide. Flooded trail. Bear activity. All lies. All of it. Anything to keep people out of certain zones. But they always found ways in. Like the school kids in '98. Seniors on a dare. One of them had heard the story about a hiker who came back with no eyes, just empty sockets stuffed with pine needles. So naturally, they went looking. We found their camp 2 days later. Torn to pieces. No blood, no bodies. Just claw marks carved into trees 30 feet high. And this awful, putrid smell like rotting meat and burnt hair. I still wake up with it in my nose. There's a pattern, you see. And after 30 years, I started to notice it. The screams come in cycles. About every 7 years, give or take. They start as whispers. Then grow. Then, something happens. A vanishing. A death. A corruption. Like whatever's out there feeds off attention. Off fear. The more people hear the stories, the stronger it gets. And God help you if you answer it. There was a kid once, 14. Went missing from a scout troop. We organized a search. Hundreds of volunteers. Dogs, drones, the whole 9. On the 3rd night, we found him walking out of the woods barefoot, muttering something over and over again. It's in the roots. His feet were torn to ribbons, his skin covered in bite marks, tiny ones, like 100 mouths had been nibbling him for hours. He didn't recognize his parents. Didn't even flinch when they hugged him. He just kept saying that same phrase. It's in the roots. It's in the roots. It's in the. They had to sedate him. He's still in a facility out west. Never spoke again. But me? I stayed. Why? Because someone has to. Because every few years, some fool hears the stories and thinks they're brave enough to face it. And when they do, I'm the one who finds what's left of them. Or doesn't. That's why I'm telling you all this now. I don't do interviews. I don't do ghost shows or podcasts. But last week, something changed. I heard the screams again. Louder this time. Closer. And I found something. A clearing. New. Fresh. Like the trees had moved out of the way. In the center, a circle of stones I'd never seen before. Covered in symbols, carved, not scratched. Old. Navajo maybe. Or older. There were bones scattered around them. Human. I know enough to recognize a femur when I see one. I didn't touch anything. Just stood there, staring, until I realized the trees were swaying, but there was no wind. The air was wrong. Heavy. Electric. Like just before a lightning strike. And then I heard it. Not a scream. A whisper. Right behind me. 3 words. Don't look back. So I didn't. I walked. Slowly. Then faster. Then I ran. Haven't gone back since. But I know I will. Because I've seen this before. The cycle is starting again. And this time, it's different. This time, it's awake. So if you're listening to this thinking it's just a scary story, fine. Go ahead. Laugh it off. Bring your camera. Hike the trail. Chase the scream. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And whatever you do, don't answer when it calls your name. Me, Brian, Sam, and Jess, old college friends, now working 9 to 5s, trying to escape adulthood for a weekend. We'd planned this hiking trip for months. Picked Black Hollow because it was remote, quiet, and the online trail map said it had killer views from Eagle Spine Ridge. What they didn't mention were the disappearances. Or the whispers. Or the fact that parts of this forest didn't exist on any official map after 2004. We found out too late. It was the second day of the hike when things got weird. We'd left the main trail early that morning to follow a game path Brian swore would loop us back toward the ridge faster. At first, it was beautiful, dew-covered leaves, fog slipping between the trees, birds chirping just enough to keep the silence from feeling creepy. But by noon, we realized we were lost. No GPS signal. Compass going haywire. We were walking in circles. Sam found a tree he swore he'd peed on 3 hours earlier. Jess tried to laugh it off, but I could see it in her eyes, panic creeping in. We were in trouble. That's when we found the campground. It was in a clearing surrounded by black pines, almost too perfectly placed. For canvas tents arranged in a square. A rusted fire pit. A rope swing hanging from a dead branch. No people. Just stillness. Like the whole place had been abandoned in the middle of lunch. Mug sat half full on stumps. A flannel shirt draped over a log. One tent had a notebook in it. I picked it up. Only one entry, don't sleep if you hear the bells. That was it. No dates. No names. Just that sentence scrawled over and over, like the person had been losing their mind. Maybe they just packed up and left in a hurry, Sam offered. Bears or something. There's no gear, Jess said. No food, no packs. Even the tent stakes are still in the ground. Maybe they went for help, Brian said, trying to stay optimistic. Let's stay here tonight, then follow their trail in the morning. There was a trail, barely visible through the brush, like someone had forced their way north. But something about that path felt wrong. Like the trees didn't want us to notice it. Still, we stayed. The logic was simple, for walls, a fire, and some shelter was better than stumbling through the dark woods. We made camp, ate the last of our trail food, and tried to act normal. Brian told old frat stories. Sam passed around a flask. Jess curled up in a sleeping bag by the fire. But none of us were really relaxed. The wind had stopped. No birds. No bugs. Not even the occasional snap of a branch from distant deer. Just silence. And then on the bells. It was after midnight when I first heard them, soft, metallic chimes drifting through the trees. Too rhythmic to be wind. Too far from any church or building. Jess sat bolt upright. "Do you hear that?" We all did. The sound came and went in waves. Like something walking in circles around the camp. We doused the fire. Sat frozen. The bells got closer. No footsteps. Just the sound. As if it floated. Like wind chimes with legs. Then Brian whispered something I'll never forget. "Guys, there's someone standing at the tree line." We all turned. And we saw it. A figure. Barely visible in the darkness. Tall. Thin. Not moving. But the bells were louder now. Coming from it. Jess gasped. "It's got antlers," she was right. The shape wasn't just human, it had twisted horns or branches rising from its head, like a stag, but wrong. Angular. Sharp. It shimmered in the dark like it wasn't really there. Then it raised a hand, long, too long, and pointed at us. The bells stopped. And just like that, it was gone. We grabbed our packs and ran. No direction. Just away. Branches slapped our faces, roots tried to trip us, but we didn't care. We ran until our lungs burned. Finally, we collapsed near a stream. Sunlight was starting to bleed into the sky. No sign of the campground. No antlered figure. But one thing had changed. We were missing Sam. Gone. No scream. No shout. Just vanished. We spent the whole day searching. Calling his name. Backtracking. Nothing. Then Jess found something in the dirt, his watch. The band was snapped like it had been ripped off. Next to it, footprints. But not his. Hooves. Cloven. Deep. Like something heavy had been standing there. We camped under a rock ledge that night, too scared to move. In my dreams, I heard the bells again. And a voice whispering in my ear. 1 down. 3 to go. When I woke, Jess was gone. Only her boots remained, upright, side by side, as if she'd stepped out of them and vanished into thin air. Brian lost it. Screaming her name, punching trees, sobbing like a child. I didn't blame him. That night, we didn't sleep. We just sat back to back, watching the trees. At some point, I blinked. And Brian was gone, too. No sound. No warning. Just the weight of his back gone from mine, and the smell of iron in the air. I was alone. I wandered for what felt like days. Time doesn't work right in Black Hollow. Hunger comes and goes. The sun rises, but never quite sets. Eventually, I stumbled back onto the trail. A different one, newer, freshly cut like someone had made it just for me. It led to a road. A ranger was waiting. He didn't ask questions. Just handed me water and nodded. "You saw it, didn't you?" he asked. I nodded. He looked tired. "It always comes back," he said. "You were lucky. Most don't make it out." I asked him what it was. The thing with the antlers. The bells. The disappearances. He just said this: it doesn't kill. It takes. And it only takes what it's owed. I don't know what we owed. But it got its due. I've never hiked since. Never camped. Never left the city. And sometimes, when I close my eyes, I still hear them. The bells. And that voice. 3 down, my name's Jordan Hayes. I'm that survivor from the vanishing camp incident. They plastered my name on a few Reddit threads, some grainy news clips, even a paranormal docuseries. The hiker who escaped the hollow. What they didn't tell you was what happened after. What happened inside me. What I brought back. After the ranger found me, I spent 3 days in a hospital bed trying to convince myself it had all been a hallucination. The bells. The thing with antlers. My friends, gone. I tried to make it rational. But deep down, I knew better. I knew something followed me. It started small. Whispers in the vents. Shadows moving in mirrors. Nightmares that didn't end when I opened my eyes. And always, that same smell. Pine sap and rot. I moved cities. Changed my name. But it found me anyway. One night, I woke up standing in the woods behind my apartment. No shoes. No memory of how I got there. My hands were covered in dirt and sap. And carved into the bark of a nearby pine was a symbol, 3 circles interlocking, bleeding into each other. I'd seen it before. In that clearing. On the stones. Where the thing stood. That was when I knew. The forest was inside me now. I started hearing them. The voices. Not in my head. Around me. From drains. From the floorboards. From trees. They spoke in riddles. In fragments. Return what was taken, it's in the blood, the root remembers. I tried to ignore them. I tried to live a normal life. But then came the incident. I was working at a bookstore downtown. A kid came in, maybe 6 years old, staring at me like he recognized something. He walked up, touched my arm, and whispered, "The hollow is hungry again." Then he screamed. Collapsed. Had a seizure right there on the floor. Doctors said it was a neurological event. Coincidence? But I knew better. The voices were getting louder. Then, one night, I blacked out again. Woke up in my bathtub. Covered in carvings. Symbols etched into my skin with a pocket knife I didn't remember owning. And one phrase gouged into the tile with something sharp, "You must go back." I don't know why I listened. Maybe I was tired of running. Maybe the forest wanted me to see. To understand. To become something else. So I returned to Black Hollow. I parked at the trailhead and walked in. No gear. No flashlight. Just instinct. The deeper I went, the more the forest changed. The colors felt off, too saturated, like everything was painted in oil. The trees leaned inward, whispering to each other in creaks and groans. And then I found it. The pit. It wasn't there before. A jagged hole in the earth, wide and black like a wound. Inside, roots dangled like veins. I couldn't see the bottom. The voices screamed when I stepped near it. It's watching. It's beneath. Don't go down. But I had to. So I climbed in. The walls were slick, pulsing with warmth, like climbing into a throat. The further I went, the louder the heartbeat got. Yes, a heartbeat. Not mine. Something else's. At the bottom was a chamber. Circular. Ancient. Covered in carvings. Bones lined the walls, arranged like offerings. And at the center, a figure. Not moving. At first, I thought it was a statue, bone white, antlers curled like a ram's, hands covering its face. Then it breathed. And I knew this was it. The source. The root. The hollowed one. It spoke inside my mind. Not with words, but with feelings. Emotions. Hunger. Sorrow. Rage. I understood then. It didn't hate us. It didn't even know us. We were ants trampling through a god's church. And the bells? The whispers? The disappearances? Warnings. Warnings we ignored. The thing reached for me, and not with arms, but with its voice, and I saw flashes, a ritual in the 1800s. Settlers offering blood beneath a full moon. A girl buried alive under a stone circle, eyes gouged out with pine thorns. A ranger, Tom Raskin, standing at the edge of the pit, watching silently, knowing. This has happened before. Many times. And every cycle, it needs a witness. Someone to carry the memory. To pass it on. To keep the fear alive. Because the fear feeds it. I was chosen. The hollow doesn't just take bodies. It takes minds. Souls. It infects. And I let it in. When I climbed out, the sky was crimson. The trees bent low in reverence. I wasn't me anymore. I walked into town barefoot, bleeding, smiling. They called it a breakdown. Said I'd been missing for 2 weeks. They medicated me. Put me in a facility. But I'm not sick. I'm a vessel. And I'm writing this now because I know what comes next. The blood moon. It's almost here. The hollow will rise again. It needs you to know. It needs your fear. Your attention. Your awe. That's why you're hearing this story. It called to you. It always does. And soon, you'll start hearing them, too. The bells. The whispers. The voices beneath the pines. They never stop once they start. Because now, you're part of it. The blood moon hung heavy in the sky, an open wound dripping rust into the clouds. The forest was alive again. Breathing. Watching. He could feel it under his boots with every step, the hum beneath the soil, like some monstrous heart slowly waking from a dream. Black Hollow had entered its final cycle. And this time, it wouldn't end with whispers. It would end in fire. He reached the old watchtower before dawn. Tower 9, his station once. It was barely standing now, rotted through, reclaimed by vines and moss. But he didn't come here for shelter. He came to see it one last time. From the top, the forest stretched like an ocean of black needles. Every tree seemed to lean inward, pulled by some gravitational hunger toward a single point, the clearing. That cursed stone circle. It was glowing now. Faintly. Blood-colored, like embers in a fire that never fully went out. Tom pulled the satchel from his shoulder and checked the contents one last time. 3 sticks of dynamite, a worn crucifix, his late wife's wedding ring, and a tattered notebook with one name etched inside, Jordan Hayes. He hadn't told anyone what he was planning. The new Rangers thought he'd retired. Moved to Florida. Good riddance, they said. Let them believe it. This wasn't for them. This was for all the ones the hollow had taken. For Brian. Jess. Sam. For the kids. For Deb. Especially Deb. He still remembered how she'd whispered his name from the trees the night she vanished, voice twisted, too sweet, like honey over rot. The hollow hadn't just taken her. It had become her. That was the truth. The thing in the woods wasn't a beast. It wasn't a ghost or a cryptid. It was memory. Corrupted, ancient, fed on human fear and grief until it grew strong enough to wear the people it consumed. And tonight, under the blood moon, it would become something worse. Something real. Tom descended the tower, every step aching in his knees. The air was thick now, red fog curling around the trunks, muffling sound. Even the birds refused to speak. He followed the trail. Not the one on the map, but the true path, the one you only saw when the hollow allowed it. It welcomed him now. It wanted him to see. The clearing appeared suddenly, as if it had been waiting just around the bend all along. The stone circle pulsed with light. The roots surrounding it twitched, moving like tendrils. And at the center stood Jordan Hayes. Or what was left of him. His eyes were completely black. His mouth stitched shut by what looked like thorns. Symbols covered his arms, chest, even his face etched into the flesh like tattoos carved with fire. He didn't speak. He didn't move. He simply pointed upward. Tom looked. The trees parted, and the hollowed one descended. It wasn't walking. It floated. 10 feet tall. Antlers like tree limbs choked with vines. Skin like bark peeled from a screaming face. Its presence made the ground tremble. It stared at Tom with hollow eyes. And then it smiled. Tom didn't hesitate. He stepped into the circle, heart hammering, and threw the crucifix into the center. The air snapped like a thunderclap. The creature flinched. Good. He reached into the satchel and placed the wedding ring beside the crucifix. I remember you, he whispered. I remember all of them. The hollow screeched. Not a sound, an emotion. Rage. Panic. Hunger denied. Tom opened the notebook and flipped to the final page. The ritual of severing. He'd spent years researching. Navajo folklore. Celtic rituals. Appalachian shadow lore. It all pointed to one truth: the hollow fed on continuity, on being remembered. But if you could erase the memory, break the cycle, you could starve it. He pulled the dynamite. Lit the fuse. I carry their names, he said, voice cracking. But I won't carry you anymore. Jordan lunged. Too late. The explosion shattered the clearing in a column of fire and root shrapnel. The ground caved inward, sucking everything into the pit below, the stones, the trees, the creature. And Tom. As the smoke cleared, the forest fell silent. Utterly. No birds. No wind. No voices. Just peace. 2 months later, the state officially decommissioned Black Hollow Reserve. Wildfire, they said. Natural causes. The final report listed no survivors. But one ranger, new guy, barely out of training, swore he saw something in the ashes. A figure standing among the ruins of Tower 9. No face. Just antlers. Somewhere, in a quiet city apartment, a child wakes screaming. Their parents rush in, confused, panicked. The child clutches their chest and whispers through tears, it's hungry again. Because some things never die. They just wait. And when you remember them, when you whisper their name, you bring them back. The hollow remembers. And now. So do you.